What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 16th day of January in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. Vice President Jagdeo today rubbished the lawsuit filed by embattled Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus over a reported diversity policy that has been put into force in the Guyana Police Force under direction of the Vice President. Mr. Jagdeo called the lawsuit a publicity stunt. Last week, Mr. Brutus filed a $1.6 billion lawsuit against the government over the diversity policy, which he described as discriminatory. In the lawsuit, Mr. Brutus detailed that at a meeting with the top brass of the police force back in 2020, a directive was given by the vice president that the structure of the police force should mirror the ethnic composition of the country's population. At a press conference today, Mr. Jagdeo said he cannot recall meeting with the Commissioner of Police on any such issue. He said it appears as though the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Calvin Brutus, who is facing over 200 criminal charges, is now trying to make all types of statements to rally support.
So first of all, there has been no such directive. Never met with the Commissioner of Police, and I never asked him to replace Brutus as head of admin. But I spoke with a number of people, my colleagues, about what was being discovered, what people were coming to tell me about. And these are not Indo-Guyanese. Large numbers of people kept coming to me and saying, we can't get paid. There was a mechanic, Afro-Guyanese mechanic, who said to me, they owe me for 150 vehicles that I repaired. In the last 3 years, I did not receive a single cent from them. I keep running all the time to the police admin, no money. This is a small guy, not a big person. And there were lots of other complaints of that nature.
The vice president said it is dangerous for Mr. Brutus to say he was racially discriminated by his removal as head of the force's administration department, just before the fraud accusation surfaced against him. Jagdeo said the complaints against Mr. Brutus by persons providing services to the Guyana Police Force were insurmountable. But Mr. Jagdeo said it is not a bad thing to have the diversity of the country being reflected in institutions across the country.
The merit of it, I think, is zero. So first of all, there is a claim that somewhere along the line, the PPP said, we would like to see diversity in all of our institutions and across the country. And I support that because we've been open about it. We've spoken about having diversity that reflects the people of our country in every institution, including in our party, the People's Progressive Party.
The vice president said he and his government have no apology for Mr. Brutus and his removal as head of the administration of the police force. He said Brutus was not a clean or upstanding officer and read a long list of charges that Brutus is currently facing.
These are the charges. There are lots of them he has to answer for. He will get the chance to do so in court. But it's had nothing to do with race. Absolutely nothing that he is now trying to make that in this environment, he's trying to accuse the PPP of racial discrimination now. Now, who did not benefit from these things that were paid for. It's the policemen.
In the lawsuit, Mr. Brutus has stated that a number of police officers who are Indo-Guyanese have been placed in positions above their more qualified and experienced colleagues who are not Indo-Guyanese. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Honey, what were you doing? Let's cash out. Let's cash out.
Shop $5,000 or more at any Massey stores for a chance to win a 2024 Nissan Qashqai Sense and $100,000 every 2 weeks with Massey Stores Christmas Jackpot Promotion.
Guyana, get ready for a special night of 70s soul featuring the Stylistics.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new.
And Blue Magic.
So let the sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in.
Valentine's Day, February 14th. Save the date. The Stylistics. And Blue Magic, it's classic 70s soul, coming to Guyana Friday, February 14th, 2025. Don't miss it.
Make the world go round.
The Georgetown Mayor and City Council today agreed to pay its workers a 10% retroactive salary increase for 2024, after a number of those workers, including the constabulary officers and garbage collectors, staged a sit-in protest action. The municipality has also agreed to pay the workers an 8% salary increase for this year. The Georgetown Mayor and City Council and the Guyana Labor Union signed the agreement today following the intervention of the Chief Labor Officer Danishwar Dionarine. Quoting the agreement, City Mayor Alfred Mentor told News Source that according to the agreement, the workers will be paid the increase on or before the 31st of March.
The agreement clearly states that the parties have agreed that there will be a 10% retroactive salary increase for 2024 to be paid on or before the 31st of March 2025. The parties agreed that there will be an 8% salary increase for 2025, which will be retroactive to January 2025, and which will also be paid before the 31st of July 2025.
The city mayor said the workers staged a sit-in based on poor advice given by their union. He explained that it was never the council's intention not to increase the salaries of the workers, but it was deeply concerned about the municipality's ability to finance the increase, having only received 58% of its rates and taxes for 2024. The mayor said the municipality needed time to generate the revenues needed to afford the increases.
Agreed to these terms and conditions based on our ability to also get our monies in. So they've given us, the union in this case, have given us time, which we have proposed to the council earlier this year, that what is it we need is time.
Based on the agreement, the union has agreed to support the mayor and city council in its efforts to garner its outstanding revenues by imploring the public, businesses, and other entities to pay their taxes. Meanwhile, over at Freedom House, Vice President and General Secretary of the PPP, Jagdeo, lashed out at the council, which has an APNU majority, over its inability to pay the workers.
The city council has a huge source of potential income from which they could meet their liabilities to the workers, to those who supply services to the city, and also for development works. But they refuse to go after that huge source of revenue. They keep diverting the issue every time it's raised to the government's support for the city. And the government's support in Georgetown has been enormous.
The vice president said government support to the city has been enormous, with a number of government-funded developmental projects being rolled out in Georgetown, including the improvements to roads and bridges and the development of green spaces. Jagdeo said the council must now do its part and collect those outstanding rates and taxes. But City Mayor Alfred Mentor assured news source that everybody will fall under the hammer, and outstanding taxes will be sought, including those owed by political parties and the government itself. Well, a Guyanese man who was wanted in the U.S. after being involved in an accident that resulted in the death of another driver has been extradited to face those charges in the U.S. The Ministry of Home Affairs announced this morning that Parmanand Singh was extradited to the United States on Wednesday after waiving his right to an extradition hearing and consenting to the return to the U.S. to face the charges. The Home Affairs Ministry explained that in September of last year, the government of Guyana received a formal extradition request from the government of the U.S. Acting on the request, Minister of Home Affairs Robson Ben signaled to the Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty to initiate the legal proceedings required for the extradition. The ministry said Parmanand Singh is accused of operating a motor vehicle while his blood alcohol level exceeded the lawful limit, leading to impaired faculties. It is alleged that he collided with another vehicle, resulting in the death of its sole occupant. Following the accident, Singh sustained injuries and received medical treatment at the Broward Health Medical Center in Florida. The Home Affairs Ministry said during his treatment in Florida, 2 blood samples were lawfully obtained and analyzed for alcohol and/or drug levels. Laboratory tests revealed blood alcohol concentrations that significantly exceeded Florida's legal limit for operating a motor vehicle. Singh's arrest was executed under a warrant issued by the acting chief magistrate. The prosecution team representing the interests of the U.S. included Lisa Cave, the Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Treaty Officer at the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ormella Gladstone, along with Sergeant Stephen Hines from the Major Crimes Unit of the Police Force. He served as the investigating officer. On the 3rd of January, Singh was committed to custody for extradition by the acting chief magistrate, and he remained in custody until his extradition was completed yesterday. The Home Affairs Ministry said the successful extradition underscored Guyana's commitment to international cooperation and its resolve to ensure that justice is served across borders.
Guyana, get ready for a special night of 70s soul featuring the Stylistics.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new.
And Blue Magic.
So let the tide show begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in.
Valentine's Day, February 14th. Save the date. The Stylistics. And Blue Magic, it's classic 70s soul, coming to Guyana Friday, February 14th, 2025. Don't miss it.
Make the world
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Monster, bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster, grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
2 years after the government launched a competitive bidding process for 14 offshore oil blocks, it is still to issue a single exploration license. In late 2023, 1 year after the auction was launched, the government awarded 8 of the blocks to a total of 6 bidders. However, disagreements over the non-fiscal terms in the new model production sharing agreement has stalled the issuance of the exploration license. At a press conference 2 days ago, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat apologized for the delays in issuing the license for the blocks awarded.
I want to personally apologize because I agree with you. We should have concluded at least some of the agreements with regards to the bid round. It has taken a long time. But what we wanted, and I think Vice President did mention it, we wanted a PSA that applies to all the bidders.
4 of the companies, Total Energies Consortium, the International Group Investments Inc., Sibili Energy Limited, and Delcorp Inc. have all accepted the production sharing agreement. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil and its partners Hess and Sinuk have not accepted a new PSA and are currently reviewing it. Exxon has long expressed concern about the non-fiscal terms in that agreement. Minister Barrett told reporters that it is important to have all the companies agree to a single PSA, which can be used as a model for future agreements.
We haven't been able to conclude a PSA that is accepted by all the bidders. And we don't want to be in a position where we have a PSA for different companies. That is not the ideal position to be in. And you would agree with me.
Under the new model PSA, the royalty on all petroleum produced and sold by the contractor has been increased from 2% as embedded in the Stabroek Block PSA to 10%. It includes the retention of the 50-50 profit sharing after cost recovery. However, a company would not be able to recover more than 65% of the cost at any time. Minister Barrett has assured that the exploration license for the new blocks will be issued this year. However, he was not able to give specifics. He said too it was not likely that there will be a second round of auctioning. Vice President of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Vice President Jagdeo, today said his party has not made any promises to long-standing member of the PNC Reform, James Bond, for his endorsement of President Irfan Ali for a second term. The Vice President said a number of opposition activists and supporters have already joined the PPP, and they're working for the party. At his weekly press conference, he said the party has welcomed Bond's endorsement, while noting that he has been historically hostile to the PPP.
Nothing was promised to James Bond. No pecuniary benefits. Nothing that he will get a contract if he comes to the PPP. He voluntarily decided, and I suspect it's a well thought out decision about his own future, decided he wants to support Irfan Ali and the People's Progressive Party and their agenda. This is something that we welcome.
Mr. Jagdeo said the welcoming of new people to his party does not mean the party will forget its base and those who have been with it for a long time. He said, in fact, he has been encouraging party members to benefit from contracts, scholarships, and other government programs.
So we have a support base. We're not giving up on our supporters. We've made it clear. The PPP supporters who stood with us, Indo-Guyanese, Amerindians, etc., we all fought for them. But we made it clear that we welcome new people to our party. And once they come in and believe in what we believe in, and they fight for freedom and for progress, and they subscribe to our ideals, then they would be welcome in our party.
Last Friday, opposition leader Aubrey Norton said Bond's endorsement of President Irfan Ali will not dent the opposition's chances at the next elections. Bond has also been criticized by some party supporters for his decision. But Mr. Jagdeo today said that more persons are now seeing their future better secured under the PPP.
So people are leaving them because they're thinking about their own futures in a well thought out manner. They don't want to be associated with the racism, and secondly, they want to make sure that they are part of something that is more lofty, that works towards bringing people together, that would work on improving people's lives, or ensuring our people have better jobs, higher paying jobs, better quality education, healthcare.
James Bond is an attorney at law and businessman. He's a former member of parliament for the APNU and also served previously on the executive of the People's National Congress. 31-year-old businesswoman from Stewartville on the west coast of the Marara, Adacia Coleman, has been charged and remanded to jail on allegations of fraud. The Guyana police force said her victim list has 95 persons, but she has been charged in 2 of the cases so far. The fraud is related to down payments for the purchase of vehicles that the victims say never arrived. The police said a 31-year-old is accused of defrauding the victims of cash, ranging from $300,000 to $1 million. Coleman is the owner and operator of a company that reportedly imports vehicles. Several of the victims reported that they made down payments for a particular vehicle and were provided with a 3-month timeline for the delivery. However, the vehicles never arrived, and the victims said that the businesswoman repeatedly made excuses about shipment delays. When some of the victims sought refunds, they were provided with checks that the bank told them should be returned to Coleman. The checks were not honored. The police said 5 investigations were completed and the files were dispatched to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. The DPP recommended charges in 2 of those cases, and the police were instructed to conduct further investigations on the remaining 3. 86 other investigation files are being finalized for submission to the DPP. The suspect was charged on 2 counts of obtaining money by false pretense. She pleaded not guilty to the 2 charges during her appearance at the Lenora Magistrates Court this morning, and she was remanded to jail after bail was refused. The matter will continue on the 31st of January.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. According to the BBC, Cuba has started to release the first of hundreds of prisoners it agreed to free following a deal with the United States. Under the agreement brokered by the Catholic Church, President Joe Biden removed Cuba from the U.S. list of state sponsors of terrorism just days before his term ends. In return, the Cuban government said it would free 553 people, many of whom were detained during an anti-government protest that swept through the communist-run island in 2021. While Havana has cautiously welcomed the deal, there are doubts as to how long it will last after President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, appeared to hint that it could be reversed. Despite the doubts raised by the Trump administration officials, Cuba released about 20 prisoners on Wednesday, according to local NGOs. Economic activity in Brazil exceeded market expectations in November, official data showed on Thursday, adding to a string of stronger than anticipated performances despite the central bank's ongoing monetary tightening cycle. According to Reuters, the IBC Brazil Index, a leading indicator of gross domestic product, rose 0.1% in seasonally adjusted terms from October, while economists polled by Reuters had expected no change. On a non-seasonally adjusted basis, the index, which incorporates proxies for output in agriculture, industry and services, as well as tax data on production, climbed 4.1% compared to November 2023 and increased 3.6% over 12 months. The positive performance came despite weaker than expected data in November for the service sector, the main driver of Brazil's economy, along with negative readings for retail sales and industrial output. Finance Minister Fernando Haddad has stated that Latin America's largest economy likely expanded by 3.6% in 2024, more than double the forecast by private economists at the beginning of the year. The expansion has been fueled by strong household consumption and rising investment amid a tight labor market. And finally tonight, international news. Israel said it had delayed holding a cabinet meeting on Thursday to ratify a ceasefire with Hamas, blaming the militant group for the holdup, as Palestinian authorities said Israeli airstrikes overnight had killed 77 people in Gaza. According to Reuters, a senior Hamas official said the group remained committed to the ceasefire deal, agreed a day earlier, that was scheduled to take effect from Sunday to bring an end to 50 months of bloodshed. President Joe Biden's envoy and President-elect Donald Trump's envoy were in Doha, with Egyptian and Qatari mediators working to resolve the last remaining dispute, a U.S. official said. The dispute involves the identities of several prisoners Hamas is demanding be released and is expected to be resolved soon, the U.S. official said. Israeli government spokesperson David Mencer told reporters Israeli negotiators were in Doha to reach a solution. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and wishing you a pleasant evening.